So a few years back, there was this clash happening between the residents and the board members. And there was something going on that I wasn't aware of because all I was doing is just pay my dues and not attending the board meetings. But one day I decided to go to this board meeting because I thought, yeah, why not? And it's in the evening. So I went there and there was this fighting and cursing at each other, and there was a lot going on, and the residents weren't happy the way the management was running the place. They didn't know where their HOA funds were going, and a lot of commotion. And I'm gonna put a clip for you to see how it went. I took a little video with my old camera so you can have an idea what was going on.
If anybody here can't get along, you don't need to be on the board. That is what it's about. You two have to be in court. You have to be together. Okay? You're up here fighting each other, and we're here having a freaking battle like we're 3 years old. It is about the money and taking care of the condominium. It's all about if Joe Blow's got, living with his half-sister's ex-wife's twin brother. It's not about that. If you two can't get along, and if there is nobody up here that's got balls enough to address this meeting and to calm it down, they don't need to be here. That's right. When you have an owner that has to step up, I'm just a poor old working woman, But I'll tell you what, if you haven't got enough guts and enough balls to stand up here and get this meeting in order, you don't need to be here.
Whoa! Are you going to take her out here where we got balls?
Excuse me?
Are you going to take her out here where we got balls?
I could care less because right now I'm not seeing
You are. I'm glad that you take her out.
Respectful, please.
So those neighbors were yelling and screaming at those three board members on the left side. They were on my side. So actually there's 5 of them, but 3 of them were there. And all these people, the residents, they were complaining they had never had a board meeting in the afternoon, which nobody can attend 11 o'clock in the morning. So they always had the board meeting set up at 11 o'clock. And there were only 4 or 5 people that could attend because some of them they work and some of them they, so that was a bad timing. So for the first time they had it at 6 p.m. and this was it's been probably going on, which I wasn't aware of because all I was doing, waiting for something in the mail to show up if they raised the HOA or something like that. But this was about 8 years ago, but I kept the video and I have few more. So the residents were complaining where their dues were going and some increases and some funds and lots of going back and forth. And there were even cops, those guys in the black shirt in the back, because they didn't want it to turn physical altercation. So yeah, there was lots of they weren't happy the way there were 3 ladies managing the whole association. And yeah, even one time I got flooded in 2018 from a neighbor upstairs, and it happened as usual. It happens 3-4 in the morning when nobody's in the office, and they have an emergency number if something there's an emergency, a pipe bursts or something. So in my case, the hose of the washing machine burst from the neighbor upstairs, And I called the number and nobody's answering. It says, it goes to voicemail. They're supposed to call me back. And by the time it was 7 o'clock in the morning, the whole place got flooded. And luckily it was Friday. The maintenance guy was there. He shut off the water for the whole building outside. So, but anyhow, so it was managed like that, whatever. And then, yeah, it's like there is a management and they're running it on their own benefits. From what I understand, they were complaining. So, they pay themselves the salary, things like that. I don't want to go to details, but it was something like that. So those residents, everybody was saying, like where their HOA dues are going and things like that. And there was a lot of yelling and screaming and turmoil at each other. And then they were fighting with each other too, though. Those board members, they weren't getting along. And they got somebody who was a tenant that became a president of the board. How is it a tenant who's not an owner in that whole complex became a president, the president of the board? So I went and looked at the bylaws, and then it says, it is allowed, but technically they're not supposed to vote for somebody who's a tenant, because he's a tenant. What is he? He's not an owner. So, but anyhow, yeah, a lot of chaos, that time, and everybody wanted to hire a management company, a reputable company that can manage the things. They have accountant and everything, like a real company, not just individual that's running the place. And somehow that lady, she quit. Those 3 ladies, they quit or they got fired, I don't know, along with the maintenance people. So the whole crew, they wanted them out. So, and then they brought this company, and then the board people, they brought this one company. Supposedly they didn't like it, how they're running. After like 1 month or 2 months, they brought another company which was more expensive. They raised the dues, but that's how they run it. So then they brought this other company back, the one from the first one they wanted for. So after that, I moved out from that place. I sold and moved out because I had my own issues with the neighbor upstairs. They were making a lot of noise. They brought a lot of people, and that chaos was going on. So nobody was listening to me. I was like, they weren't paying attention to me. So I was disgusted, but then they had this company. So after a few years, I moved back there thinking everything is fine. The only thing, it was more affordable. So the cheap comes out expensive because you think it's more affordable than other places. And I was saving some money, with the HOA. But I had the same issues, with the neighbors and everything, because now they had 62% investors, like owners buying those units and renting them out to tenants for income, for passive income. So my neighbor was a tenant, and the people downstairs were a tenant. I was thinking doing that, but where would I go and live? So then I have to, go pay rent someplace. Plus I have to deal with the association that I have to pay the HOA, and my insurance goes up, and I lose my homestead. So yeah, and then this is the second time I decided to sell and move out, and here I am renting a room here, and I'm probably gonna in the future move out. But here's the thing, so there was very, very bad management. And you see, most of, I've seen other HOAs having disputes like that with the residents because mismanagement, and they don't know where their money is going, and they pay themselves a salary, and all they do is, take care of the landscaping, make it look nice, with the plants and all that. And other things they didn't take care of. That's why there was a lot of issues. So, but anyhow, I wanted to share this with you. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and if you would live in a place like that and how much you can tolerate with all the chaos and all the disputes. Sorry, there was a bus coming through. But yeah, how much can you tolerate with all that chaos, between the management? As it is, it's difficult, paying the HOA dues, the insurance, the homeowner's insurance, the property tax, the electric bill. And I was trying to get a roommate, and now they have this new rule. They have to do a background check, which is okay, but they didn't have to. They want so much private information for somebody. If somebody's gonna stay more than 14 days, now they made it 10 days. They want their social security number, and I understand the driver's license, but why would they want somebody's very personal information? That's like a lot, so yeah, things like that, it became very irritating. And now I'm nervous about if I mean, one day I want to have my own place, but I'm really nervous about going back dealing with those people that bossing you around, and it's like unbelievable. And then if you're stuck there until you sell, and then you have to find a buyer to buy your place, and depending on the market, you might lose money or make money, but all the hassle you have to go through and everything, it's insane. So yeah, I endured and I survived it, and I have, it's a trauma. But I didn't know about all of that till I walked in there, and I was surprised. I was going there for some, they had usually they have cookies and muffins and chocolate things, but that day it was nothing like that. It was bitter and more bitterness, and yeah, I wanted to share that with you. Well, this is what I have for you today. Please put a like and subscribe to my channel, and I see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.